it includes an $18 billion cut to the NIH for wasteful things over there, $15 billion cancellation in green new scams, $2 billion cut to the IRS, thankfully. They could probably cut a little bit more if it was up to me, but $49 million cut to the Office of Civil Rights. Now, there would also be an increase in $113 billion to the DoD to patch up some of the damage that Biden did to our military, $44 billion towards the DHS to rebuild the border, $500 million towards the MAHA mission, $60 million for charter schools and a few other things sprinkled in there. The man behind the budget, Russell Vought, the OMB director at the White House. Sir, loving the start. It's a great start. DOJ had a huge part in this. What else is in this that is very important to see it through?
Well, you gave us a great rundown, and thanks for letting me be on. This is the first budget in the new term. We're sending it up to Congress to get the appropriations process going. Lowest non-defense spending level since 2017, adjusted for inflation, is the lowest since 2000. This, we believe, is what is critical to be able to get rid of the woke and the weaponized bureaucracy that we have known over the last several years. It's not just wasteful, and it is wasteful. We can't afford to be spending Sesame Streets in Iraq. But this is both designed to divide us and to weaponize against the American people. When you have an enforcement apparatus at the EPA that puts Navy veterans in jail for building ponds on their ranch, or if you have equity grants to preschool curriculum that are designed to inculcate at 4 years old CRT into our school systems, that's wrong. The American people would rather not it be spent at all, let alone what we could afford. That's what this budget represents.
Right. Now, sir, you know how these things go. They go to Congress, they go to the Senate. There's always pet projects put in these things. There's always fluff and fat and pork. Do you have a mechanism, and have you had the conversations with hardline conservatives and some of the more moderate Republicans to say, guys, don't refill a bunch of these stupid programs that we're trying to get rid of. Just trust us.
Yeah, I was up there on the Hill yesterday having great conversations with the Appropriations Committee. We used to never have those kind of conversations in the first term. They want to get to our number. They want to get as low as they possibly can. They were asking us, when are you going to send your budget up? Because we don't want to start until we know what you're proposing, and we want to get there. The Speaker of the House put out a statement. The Majority Whip put out a statement supporting this budget. And so this is historic levels of support. We haven't seen of this level really since the 1980s, and the extent to the enthusiasm. And they've been clamoring for cuts from DOJ to be sent to the Hill as forms of rescissions. So Congress wants to be a part of what we're doing, and obviously the proof is in the pudding of whether the votes are there. But this was as good a start as we could have hoped for.
Now, one of the arguments that people are saying, okay, there's another $100 billion or so for the Pentagon. Now, the Pentagon already has nearly a $1 trillion budget. There's been talks of cutting back the civilian workforce over there and trying to morph that over instead of giving them more money out of the discretionary pot. Has there been any more conversations with that?
Well, there's a lot of reforms that are occurring at the Pentagon under the great leadership of Pete Hegseth. And that's going to be continued, but it's going to be reinvested right now into the Department of Defense. The President wants to increase them to $1 trillion. It's a 13% increase. What's new about this budget is that we avoid Democrats having to veto about whether our defense increases and our homeland security increases occur without them leveraging it for their non-defense increases. And so we put all of our increases as part of these reconciliation bills that you're hearing a lot about, the one big beautiful bill, because we want Republican votes to pass those. And so this is a $1 trillion defense bill. Reforms will occur. We're going to do a lot of work to make sure it's well spent. But it is historic in the sense that we have a new paradigm here to be able to use Republican votes to change both before security spending and also allow us to cut non-defense spending.
Yeah, and on the backs of jobs numbers coming back today, actually a lot better than the expected. There was 177. I think they expected 125, 130 or something like that. Does this help bolster your plan to make these cuts and even more going forward?
Well, I think so. I mean, I think there's a lot of enthusiasm for the cuts. I think we had great economic news today in terms of the jobs. We're nearly up to 500 million in new jobs, 500,000 new jobs. And so that's a fantastic story. Obviously, the president is not new to the stewardship of this economy, and we're doing a really good job on that front, and that'll only seek to continue.
Yeah, well, sir, I appreciate that. And also, of those 500,000 new jobs, more American-born personnel are getting those jobs over foreigners, which I think is a fantastic statistic, too. Russell Vought, OMB Director at the White House, sir, thank you.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.